be the one hidden.
Yeah. No, the thing about EA is they, in a way, they have the entire sports industry at their mercy when it comes to gaming. Like, isn't FIFA the biggest, money maker for EA games right now? Yeah, that's true. So think about FIFA at least. Like, I don't know much about Sims. I played it once, but FIFA is a thing that was part of my childhood. It's the same. It's the same game every time. They just improve the graphics. That's it. In a way, I argue that it's one of the best money makers of all time. Yeah, the exact same game. Just make a few changes, publish it, and quite a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, look at Pokemon for a similar example from a different company. Like, it's the same basic game each time, but they tweak it a little each time, add different add characters, change Pokemon, change some region specific things. But it's the same basic game, same basic concept each time.
In a way, yes, but the thing about Pokemon and FIFA is Pokemon at least has an overarching story. Or back in the day, they had one. Let's take Pokemon Red and Blue and Gold and Silver. Gold/Silver is it's a sequel to Red and Blue. However, FIFA's, I don't know how to put it. FIFA doesn't have an overarching story. It's just FIFA's official game. That's it.
That's true.
And it's Pokemon in a way like Nintendo has full control of what happens with it. So if it succeeds or fails, it's more or less due because of Nintendo. However, in case of let's say Pokemon, in case of FIFA, its success or failure is controlled by an external force. In this case, FIFA.
That's true.
And FIFA could take away the rights, like they won't, but if they want to, they could from EA. So EA is dependent on an even more shadier organization called FIFA. And if you want, I could talk about all the great stuff FIFA's done.
I'm actually not very familiar with FIFA at all, so
it's an Asian thing. It's a Middle Eastern thing. I was raised in the Middle East, so that was everything that people used to talk about back then. It's like my mom, like for example, say my understanding of baseball is terrible, so it could be something similar to that, I guess.
Okay.
Doesn't he even have rights to the baseball league? Let me just check. Okay, FIFA, it takes FIFA, NFL. Okay, Battlefield 2042. Okay. Star Wars Squadrons. So they have control of FIFA, Star Wars, NFL, NBA. Not too bad, given their reputation.
Yeah.
It's I'd say another thing that EA has, apart from them being disliked by other businesses, I'd say they're disliked by their customers a lot, by their customers and their staff. So I wonder how long this company can stay afloat.
Yeah, that's really what I'm wondering as well, because like yeah, if they have a customer base that is like that dislikes them, and a workforce that dislikes them, it sort of seems like they won't be able to like they wouldn't be able to withstand, like, if a different company came along and like that was actually like that actually had like good ethics or something, like something that they lacked, that caused people to dislike them. And like,
And that's possible, but the thing is, in a way, EA is a monopoly. Like, how many other big game developers exist? I'd say EA's downfall would be slow and painful. Won't be quick, it'll be slow and painful. As most monopolies end.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, from your chat, I thought they just license out Star Wars and stuff. Yes, they do. They in a way you could call them a copyright troll. They get the copyrights of everything, and they run with that. And I would argue that EA kind of ruined Star Wars gaming as a whole. Well, who controlled Star Wars Battlefront before EA?
And thank you for the hydrate, Mama Iowa. But yeah, I'll be honest, I've never actually played any of the Star Wars games either. I'm not much of a gamer, but also I like play some games. It's sort of interesting. I play a lot of older games, so like I've played a lot of games from before Electronic Arts started like acquiring a bunch of different intellectual property and stuff.
Got it. No, Star Wars games, at least the older ones, were, I think, I think it was controlled by Activision before EA got the rights.
Interesting. Oh, actually, I've played one Star Wars game. Star Wars Pod Racer.
Okay. Of all the ones you could say.
It is actually a really fun game. I play it on my Power Mac G4.
Okay.
Yeah,
it is fun, but there's better. So due to there being better games, it kind of got a bad rap.
why is that?
That's how I put. It came right right when the Phantom Menace became a movie. So, and that movie wasn't really well liked, at least when it came out.
Yeah, and it's Yeah, it's not one of the finer movies in the series, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. I would say the unintentional racism was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that was problematic.
No, that was problematic. No, when you're a kid, you
Hello.
don't notice it. When you're older and you watch it again, you're like, how is this allowed?
Yeah. Hello, Zeslina Newborn. I hope you enjoy your time here. But yeah, that the movie could have definitely done without that.
Yeah, obviously, that was like not George Lucas's best time.
Yeah, I feel like that movie was really just like an excuse for them to try out like computer graphics, like because there were
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
scenes.
yes and no. Like he kind of refurbished the original trilogy by adding a lot of CGI into it. As far as I was aware, it's like you have two versions of the original series. You have the uncut theatrical release, and then you have the refurbished. I don't know what they call it, the newer one.
Oh, let's see. I don't know which one we have actually.
Okay, who comes in the end? Which ghost of Darth Vader comes in the end? Is it the prequel Anakin or some old guy?
I think it might be prequel Anakin.
Okay, then you have the updated version.
Okay.
The, the updated version is just George having fun. He's like, you know what? It'll be cool if we had a bit more CGI over here. And it's from a time when CGI was at its early stage, so looks kind of dumb when you watch it now.
Every scene looks like the shroud on an NVIDIA GPU.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like when I got my sister to watch Star Wars, the original trilogy, I made her watch the original one, not the one with the CGI stuff. Like how I put you're invested, then you see a huge CGI lizard, and you're like, no, I can't take this seriously anymore. It's but it pulls you out of the movie when you see huge CGI stuff. Like practical effects in a way, you appreciate it. You see it as art, like, or maybe just my personal bias. Like I kind of not a big fan of CGI.
I'm definitely a bigger fan of practical effects when the practical effects are done well. Like oh, there's this movie that we watched recently, like a few months ago, like last year. It's named The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Ah, yes. I've heard of that one. I haven't watched it yet. I've heard of it.
It was amazing. The practical effects were just spot on. I don't think there was no CGI used in it. There was no CGI at all. Everything was practical effects, and it was done amazingly.
And then in that case, I would check it out. Is it the Sam Elliott movie?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Let me see if it's on Prime. Nope. It's not on Prime or Netflix, so that means I have to do it the old-fashioned way.
My brother bought a DVD of it off of eBay for like
okay,
I'm not sure how much.
Europa, I'm Indian. When we see the old-fashioned way, we don't buy stuff.
I'm well aware of what the old-fashioned way is.
Our version of the old-fashioned way is our way of the so we have this. Okay, this is something exclusive to the city I live in. We have a place called Burma Bazaar, so it's I don't know if it's controlled by Burmese or Burmese refugees who moved in, or they just call it that. But That's where you get all the pirated stuff. Oh, that's where my parents got their pirated stuff. Pirated stuff, not me.
Nice.
Oh, the place is still open. It's one of the oh yeah, it's run by Burmese refugees. So yeah, that's why. It was set in 1969 by the government of India. But what do you know? What do you know? There are over 600 shops and 5,000 people working over there. And suppose, okay, I pass this place every day to work. Maybe I should drop by. Maybe I have to experience it the old-fashioned way, like my parents did.
It sounds like it would be it sounds like it'd be an interesting place to look around in.
Yeah, it is. Like, another thing is it's a different culture. It's Burmese. So, like, from that perspective, it's actually a pretty good, experience.
Cool.
And that's assuming it's still Burmese. Yeah, but then again, how many? Like, I don't think that's the only major grey market in India. There are quite a lot of them. It's like, till recently, how do I put, copyright laws weren't the thing over here. I mean, at least unofficially.
Interesting. Recently I've been becoming more interested in bootleg albums and stuff, bootleg music albums and stuff, and
Okay.
I I really want to try and get a hold of some bootleg albums from the experimental German musicians from the early 70s, because I feel like those boot because I feel like, there are so many weird and interesting bootleg versions of those albums, and it'd be really cool to get a hold of some, but sadly, because they are bootlegs and therefore illegal here, it's not easy to get a hold of stuff like that.
So when it comes to legality of stuff like that, is it illegal to sell or is it illegal to buy as well?
Let's see. I believe here the definition of piracy is distribution
Okay, so
of material, so it would be illegal to sell, but not illegal to buy.
okay, so okay, got it. In that case, once you get your hands on it, not an issue.
Yeah.
It's
Although what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, over here, it's similar to Indian drug laws. It's how to put over here. It's Indian laws are weird. It changes it changes based on the state, and it's not consistent inside the state as well. So, and if, let's say, something happens and the court decides to overrule, let's say, law enforcement or the legal code, that could happen. So, how about piracy over here? It's like, no one really cares, but they're trying to make it seem like, we really care about piracy because they need foreign investment.
Okay. On the topic of bootlegs and piracy and stuff, one of the so just recently, as in not too long ago, as in a few weeks ago, I picked up a cassette deck from a thrift store, and
nice.
yeah, and it works perfectly. It sounds really good, but I think it'd be really cool to buy some home recorded tapes off of eBay or something, and then just see what's on them, because I feel like, doing that, in doing that I could be exposed to new music and stuff, and I'm always open to being exposed to new music that I've never heard before, just and then also, it's always a delight to find some old favorites on a mixtape that I that like I've never heard before. So it's just really I just find that really fascinating. And what's funny is that my like way back when I first started my content creation journey as a music producer, my like logo that I used was the home recording is killing music emblem.
Okay.
just because I really enjoy the cassette tape with the crossbones. I really enjoy that look.
And you just gave me a hoodie idea right now. I'll work on it after stream. Europa, isn't what you just told me the beginning of every horror movie? Go to a thrift store, buy an old cassette tape, find something cursed. It's not like
Actually,
it's not like I'm one to judge because I have a shitload of stuff like that over here.
I'm not sure. That sounds like it could be a horror movie, but I'm not sure.
Like, however, my family, not just me, my family has a hoarding problem. It's passed down the generation. It's passed down the family. Like, my dad has a hoarding problem, my mom has a hoarding problem, I have a hoarding problem, my sister has a hoarding problem, so that's all of us. And my grandfather used to have a hoarding problem. So if I could buy an old cassette tapes, I would, but I don't have any way of playing it. That's only sad part. Let me just check Amazon. Maybe it's on Amazon. Yeah, funny thing. So eBay isn't that popular over here, and if you want anything old, you can go on Amazon. On these parts.
Oh, interesting. See, like, yeah, like, yeah, eBay is like my go-to source for old things here because like Amazon generally doesn't have a lot, and I don't necessarily trust Amazon for the old things that it does have. So, and then,
Okay. Now here it's like but Amazon kind of operates like a marketplace. They don't sell any much of their own due to some archaic law over here. Yeah, buyers and sellers. That's it. These guys don't sell anything of their own. So that it works in two ways. One is you get some really weird stuff. The other thing is quality assurance isn't guaranteed. Like
interesting.
see, right now in my cart, which most probably I'll buy after I get my month's salary. I got 3 Soviet coins from 1962 1991. The Sultanate of Hyderabad 3 coins. I can get old stuff. You can get old stuff over here. That's my point.
Nice.
Even if I want, I could start up a store on Amazon. It's just that they're too much. It's too much of a hassle. And Indian Amazon is wild. Like anything you want, you get it here. Let me check. Let me check. I've seen the book from Germany on Amazon. I've seen the communist book on Amazon. I'm like, it's weird. Like doing an Amazon deep dive over here is, you'll get some interesting stuff.
This is just a really random question because I have sort of an interest in collecting these, but do you by any chance know if you can find vintage box fans on Amazon?
Vintage box fan. Let me just check. Vintage box fan, right? Let me take a look. Okay. So is a vintage. Let me just. Is a vintage box? The only fans I'm seeing are pretty old table fans. Okay, I have an exhaust fan. No, I can't. I don't think I can find that here. There's an exhaust fan, there's a ceiling fan, and then there's a table fan.
Interesting, because here vintage box fans are actually something that people really like to collect. Like just going on eBay and searching vintage box fan comes up with let's see, things that are like you can get vintage box fans for over $100 here.
Oh, here you can. Oh, here it's okay. Is it the fan that that's shaped like a box and? Yeah, that thing. I think you can get it cheap over here. Just find a person who wants to get rid of his.
Interesting.
Like no one wants vintage box fans over here. And when it comes to electronics, we want the newer stuff, not the old stuff. Like
That's interesting.
the concept of owning old stuff is it's alien to most Indians. In fact, like in my culture, there's a festival where they burn old stuff. So that should tell you everything. Like, however, I'm seen as an outlier because I collect old coins, old stamps, and the likes. It's an alien idea to us. That's it. It's seen as I don't want to sound racist, but over here, around these parts, it's seen as what the white man does.
It's always really interesting to see how different cultures like what the different like overarching cultural attitude is towards like things like collecting and stuff, because yeah, like here it's perfectly normal to collect stuff. Like you have people who collect old cars, old computers, old video game consoles, like really, like yeah, like basically you name it, there's a collector for it.
See, over here, you name it, there's a seller for it. That's it. We don't collect, we sell. If you're an unsuspecting tourist who wants to buy stuff, we know a guy. No, that thing's pretty common over here. If you're an unsuspecting tourist, I can get. There's like a 99% chance that you'll be surrounded by a bunch of quote-unquote experts who know the place. And then it's in most parts of the country. If you're not around these parts, they charge you more. Now, if they find out you're American, 10 times the price.
Wow.
Nah, come to the territory. That's what the tourist industry is, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not really surprised, because I think I'm actually pretty sure there are like business people here who do the same thing to like to tourists.
And obviously, another thing over here is like in certain tourist spots, and by law, foreigners get charged more. Like if you want to visit, let's say, some temple or something, a tourist gets charged more. Around 5 to 10 times more than a local.
Interesting.
It's however, it's a way of subsidizing it for the locals. You charge the tourists 10 times more, you'd subsidize it for the locals. That's their strategy.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense, but how do I put this? It kinda alienates the tourists, thereby reducing the number of tourists who drop by.
Yeah, it's an interesting like equation of like it's an interesting like balancing equation sort of because yeah.
But then again, it changes by the state, so some states are okay, some are pretty rough places to go to. You know, it's like how I put the culture is so diverse that one state might be equal to say Spain, the other state's equal to say no, equal to say Russia.
Ah, okay.
And I keep saying this on every stream, but I keep forgetting each time. How many languages are in India? Okay, so we have 122 languages, 270 mother tongues, which are like sub-languages, and how many dialects do we have? I think it's about 3,000 dialects. Oh yeah, 19,500 mother tongues, which are dialects.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, no, see, it's like how we don't like in a way it's kind of weird because most people from different states don't really like each other.
Yeah.
It's
I am I'm actually really fascinated by like language and linguistic developments.
it's an interesting topic. It's just that I'm bad with languages.
Yeah, so far I really only know English, and then I studied Latin for 4 years in high school, but that's about it.
See, I've seen your poetry and that, and you at least know your stuff. I studied French for about 8 years. I don't know shit. And my parents have tried to teach me how to read and write my mother tongue. Let's just say all the time went to waste. The thing is, I'm actually supposed to know four Indian languages, and apart from English and French. No, okay, not four. Sorry. Yeah, I'm supposed to know. Since I'm considered mixed heritage over here, I'm supposed to know about 3 languages.
Okay.
But you know, I can't even. I don't even know one properly. So how do you expect me to know the other? I can understand it, but I can't speak. So that kind of that puts me in a weird spot where people don't recognize which region I'm from. And when I tell them, they're like, no, you're not from that region. Come on, you can't be from there. It's wild.
This is more an accent thing and not as much a language thing, but I've often found that like I've often found that people, no matter like where someone is from, like oftentimes it's either my accent sounds very familiar to them, or I don't really have a very pronounced accent, and it's like it's interesting because it's one of those two, but like nothing else. Like, you know, so either like I have an accent, but it's an accent that is oddly familiar to someone, or it's like an accent that isn't very pronounced at all. It's just very interesting because like yeah, I don't know. It's accents are another thing that I find really interesting to study because every every accent sounds different to uh people from different regions of the world, and it's just very interesting to me.
No, so in a way, how I put accents, it's more of an individual thing than regional thing. Because what they call my accent, no one else has it. I mean, literally no one else on this planet has it. At least the people I've talked to tell me that. Like, they find it weird that I have a mixture of a British and Arabian accent when I speak English, which gets translated onto any Indian language I speak. So the question of where you're from is pretty common wherever I go.
Interesting.
And another thing is, like, the base structure of most Indian languages is different. Like, the grammatical, formation of words is different from, let's say, any European language. So when I speak, most of it is grammatically incorrect because I translate English in my head to whichever language I'm speaking and try to use that as a base form, which sometimes comes out as extremely rude or extremely grammatically incorrect.
Ah, okay.
But given that I have an accent, most people are like, she must be from outside the country. So it's like the Indian version of your Nihongo Jutsu. Your Japanese is good. It's like the Indian version of that. Whenever they talk to me, they're like, your Hindi is good or something like that. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, initially it was more common when I was younger. Now it's kind of reduced, but it's still present.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I think we've diverted a lot from what we were planning on talking about. Yes, my favorite company from the 90s, Pets.com. You have heard of them?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure I have.
Yeah, it's like how I put that. They're seen as one of the biggest failures from the 90s. That's why I've bestowed upon the title of my favorite company upon them. It's so bad that you may question why people invested in said company. Okay, so they went for an IPO because they had a .com, and this was during the .com bubble of the 90s, early 2000s. They sold pet-related products online. That's it. At a price way below the retail price, giving them an operational loss. And unlike Amazon, who had a grand vision of taking over the book market, back then they exclusively sold books. Now they sell everything. Pets.com had no such business plan back then. So in a way, they were seen as a company that has the face of the .com bubble. Everything wrong with the .com bubble. Funny thing, the URLs used by a different company. Pets.com is used by another company that does the same thing but isn't the same company.
Interesting.
It's used by a company called PetSmart.com, who do the same thing but aren't the same company.
Oh, we actually have PetSmart here in town.
And another interesting thing about them is they had a sock puppet. You know what? I'll just DM it to you. That as their mascot. I don't know about you, but I want to invest in a company that has this as their mascot. Give me a minute. I'll send it to you now. And I'll put it. So yeah, that's the mascot.
I love that mascot.
No, it's so bad it's actually good, so in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has its own charm, but I don't think that's something I would want to be my company's mascot.
Yeah, definitely not. I definitely feel like I would want my company's mascot to be something a bit more or I guess a bit less irreverent.
That looks like my sleep paralysis demon, if I'm being honest. It's and as you can, and I'd say that's one of the reasons they fell. Oh yeah, apparently the sock puppet has an autobiography of himself titled "Me by Me."
I love that.
And there was a lawsuit on copyright because, of course. So then there's another company called Chewy.com who did the same thing but succeeded. So that's something, and they're publicly traded. Also, let me take a look at their stock. New York Stock Exchange. So that's loading. Why is the NYSE's website so slow today? Okay, never mind. It's however, it's a company that that showed everything wrong with the dot-com bubble. And the scary thing is, like, I won't be surprised if there's another bubble coming in, let's say, 2024.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there almost has to be another bubble coming.
And I'd argue that that the COVID, the pandemic, kind of delayed this bubble from bursting due to governments pumping money into the economy. Because my prediction was by 2020 or 2021, the economy, in India there was something called the tech bubble, as I love to call it. Although people will say I'm being a bit too dramatic. And so what happened was during, let's say, when did Startup India become a thing? So I'm not gonna get too political. I think when the new government came to power, a different party, they wanted to privatize the Indian, like increase startups in India. They created a program called Startup India in 2016. The problem with that is it didn't go the way they planned. So you have a country which is more or less socialist in nature. You suddenly tell them, you know what, become capitalist. I don't think it works that way. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a shit ton of money, become capitalist. And as you can tell, everyone who got the money, like, if you start a company for 3 years, you get 0% income tax. It's a 0%. They give you a 3-year period where you don't have to pay tax, and any money that comes in or goes out, no tax. And it became money laundering schemes, most of them.
Wow.
Like, you have a rich individual who invests, quote unquote, invests in the company to change his ill-gotten gains into something that's more socially acceptable. You give, let's say, you return 90% back as dividends, and you keep 10% as a transaction fee. Worked pretty well till it didn't.
Yeah.
So right now it's 20. So right now, many of the companies joined around. When did they join? They joined around 2019, 2018, 2019, and now the taxman wants his money back. As in, the Indian government wants their money back. 3-year time period is over. So that in a way the bubble's kind of collapsing on its own, but it's it's how to put, Indian economics is weird. Like recently they accidentally increased inflation by I'd estimate to be 10%, even though they claim it's 3%. They did that by increasing the tax on fuel for some reason. And no, it has nothing to do with what's happening in Europe.
Interesting.
It's as my high school sister puts it properly, a bunch of kindergartners playing around with a calculator.
That's a that sounds like an accurate description. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cryptocurrency bubble burst pretty soon.
And the cryptocurrency bubble has burst, I'd say 3 or 4 times already. It's reached a point where the crypto community accepts that it bounces up and down. The first time it busted was pretty fascinating. Like talking about this makes me feel old. Like you remember back in the day when crypto used to be stuff that criminals used for illegal transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when the bubble first burst. When what was that? Silk Road got taken down by the FBI.
Yeah, I remember I remember first seeing talk of Bitcoin, and then immediately soon after seeing talk of it being used for ransomware and stuff, and then but then now it's everyone has crypto, and it's and I'm like, wait, so what happened?
It's a respectable asset. It wasn't just ransomware. It used to be anything illegal, any illegal transaction you wanted, use crypto.
Because presumably because it wasn't as regulated as heavily back when it first came about.
Yes and no. I'd say crypto kind of rebranded itself after the Silk Road fiasco. They went more mainstream. They kind of leaned more onto fiat currency isn't as stable as you think it is. Thereby appealing towards a base human nature, and that is greed. And the endorsement of individuals like John McAfee, and I would say actually improved crypto's image publicly. Even though McAfee is an interesting character on his own.
Yeah, I remember watching an LGR Tech Tales episode on him a few years back.
Okay, and till what point did they reach? Did they reach the lab in the jungle?
I want to say so. I haven't watched it recently. I rewatched it recently, but that does sound familiar. But I do know it covered a lot of his a lot of the interesting stuff that he was involved in.
To be honest, I'd say that his existence proves that we're in a simulation. His existence is strong evidence indicating that we live in a simulation.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
He makes to be honest, if you make a movie about him and you go to a person who doesn't know anything about John McAfee, he's gonna be like, this ain't based on true story. This is pure fiction. Making a movie on him will actually require us to tone down quite a lot of stuff he did because people won't believe it.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, but insane at the same time.
Definitely.
He basically invented antivirus. He was forward thinking enough to realize that you require antiviruses. But at the same time, he's the same person that tried to take down his company.
Yeah, his story is definitely it's yeah.
Okay, so this is one thing that I'm kind of upset that he didn't do before he passed away. In July 2017, McAfee predicted that on Twitter that the price of Bitcoin would jump to $500,000 within 3 years, adding, and I quote, "If not, I will eat my own." I'm not going to say that on national television. In July 2019, he predicted a price of $1 million by the end of 2020. And it's 2023, I think Bitcoin's about $6,000 per piece. It's how many rupees? I don't want it in rupees. It's $4,000 above. So yeah, John McAfee, backed away from doing that on national TV. And wasn't he wanted for tax evasion?
I believe he was. I know he was wanted for something. I think it was probably tax evasion.
Yeah, most likely tax evasion. I'd say that's the easiest way to get a person arrested. Tax evasion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he got arrested. No, I remember. He got arrested for tax evasion. Was kept in a prison in Spain and died there due to suicide by hanging. Okay. And I remember that he ran his presidential campaign from somewhere in the Caribbean, because the moment he steps inside the US, he's going to get arrested for tax evasion. And then again, isn't there a law that prohibits felons from running for office?
Let's see. I know. I would imagine so, but I know for sure that I don't think felons can vote.
No, I know they can vote. I know they can vote, but I'm talking about them running for office.
Yeah, I don't know if if felons can run for office or not, but one thing I do know is that he would have to still have his permanent mailing address in the US, because if it's not in the US, then because one of the requirements for being president is that you have to have lived in the US for at least 10 years.
So 10 years continuously, or 10 years on and off?
I want to say 10 years continuously. And you have to be a current US resident as well.
Got it. Okay, here we go. Cora, help me out here. Can a convicted felon run for president? Yeah, but then again, McAfee wasn't convicted by a court. He was wanted for tax evasion by the IRS, but he wasn't convicted, so...
Oh.
So maybe, I think that's him, trying to clear his name in a long shot without paying taxes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I seriously don't know what to say about him. Like, personally, I think he's a terrible individual, but in a way, I can't stop admiring his brilliance.
Yeah, he's one of those people who you don't want to like necessarily,
Yeah.
but you can't discount just how brilliant he was.
Okay, yeah, I'd say that's my take on him. Like, I think he's a horrible human being, but without him, there won't be antivirus.
Yeah.
Yeah, his fortunes plummeted during 2008, okay. And his personal business includes smartphone apps, cryptocurrency, yoga, light sport aircraft, and recreational drug use. Okay, so isn't that every Silicon Valley tech pro these days?
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
sorry.
No, yeah. So I was just eating my sandwich while talking. So it's. I'd say how many other people would fit the bill like similar to McAfee?
Let's see. I mean, I'm not sure anyone who I can think would be
Same.
crazy enough.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of anyone who's crazy enough in that way. Like Elon Musk wouldn't really fit the bill.
See,
Neither would.
Elon Musk he's brilliant, but he's how I put it, I know people are going to dislike me for this specific take, but I see him as a man-child.
Honestly, that he is.
He's like how I put it, he's throwing a tantrum right now because Twitter won't let him buy the whole company. See, he's hardworking, he's brilliant, I appreciate everything he's done, but he's a man-child. Like, who in the right mind would name their child what? X? Where's the kid's name? X-Ash, 812, Elon Musk, children names. Yes, X-Ash, 812. Who would name their child that?
That sounds like the name of like an android or something.
Yeah, exactly. And he explained that X is for the term for the mathematical term X variable. Ash is because of I don't know where the Ash part came in. 812 was named after a CIA aircraft.
Interesting.
Not really subtle, is it?
No.
Okay, X hash 812, where is it? It's broken down into X stands for unknown variable, while where's meaning? Okay, 812 is the predecessor to SR17. Okay, Ash is this. Oh yes, yes. The kid's an android. Ash AE is the Elven spelling of AI. Why make the kid not a person? The kid's name is X variable AI spy aircraft. That's the kid's name.
Actually, the naming reminds me so much of a video game that I played recently. Do you know the game Sora?
I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
Well, basically the premise is that there's this enhanced human named Sora, and she basically is she was enhanced to have this she was enhanced to be able to fight better, and so like you play as her fighting to like save like a world that is basically ending due to war, and that name reminds me so much of this game.
X-Ash 812.
Yeah, it's
my question is, can they even type that out in a passport?
I don't know.
I'm quite sure Indian customs sees a person with that name. They're gonna be like, Indian immigration, they see a person with that name, they're gonna be like, sir, can you step this side? We need to ask you a few questions. And they proceed to torture him, like in many countries they proceed to beat him, asking about where are the drugs. That's gonna be the kid's life.
Or taking the kid to a secret CIA holding facility, and
Where is he? They could do that, you know. Like it's not like that's. It's not like they've mistaken people's identities before.
But yeah, that's an interesting name, honestly. It really does sound like a serial number more than a name.
It is. That's the problem. The kid's named after. The kid's name is a serial number. So like him naming his kid, that shows that even he's a kid deep down inside.
Yeah.
That and my take. Like, the funny thing about billion people's perception of billionaires is, see, let's take Bill Gates. You don't have to like him or dislike him, but let's take Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Bill Gates wants to give people vaccines, and people start coming over with weird theories about him trying to microchip them. Elon Musk wants to microchip people, and people are cool with that. Like, I'm like, how? What do you mean? What do you mean you're cool with him actually microchipping you? It's weird. Like when it comes to people who are deep inside into the conspiracy theory bubble, and they have some weird takes. They're like, Bill Gates wants to take over the world by microchipping us. Well, Elon Musk was quite open about wanting to take over the world.
Yeah, I'm not sure like anything that he's said has not pointed to his desire to take over the world.
It's like how but his dad beat him up when he was a kid, so he wants to take revenge on the world.
It's
kind of tragic in a way. No, he has everything, yet he has nothing.
Yeah, it really is. Like, yeah, yeah. I have a feeling he will eventually end up destroying himself in one way or another.
And to be honest, I think he's been trying to do that for a long time.
True. Yeah, if you look at his like just all of his Twitter activity, like there was a time when he talked. His big thing was making catgirls a reality.
Yes, the good old days.
But the thing is, and okay, so the thing is, he one of his posts talking about catgirls, he actually posted a picture of a character that I recognize, and guess what?
Yeah, I do I want to know this?
The character wasn't a catgirl. The character was a wolf girl.
Okay, I was expecting something worse, but this one's funny. Basically, Musk, they're like, how do you do, my fellow kids?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you do, my fellow anime lovers?
Then there's like, by the way, I think he gave a list of anime he likes. Let me see if I can pull up that list. Okay, what anime does Elon Musk watch? 7. Oh. Okay, 7. He's given a list of 7, okay. So his favorites include... Death Note, okay, Evangelion, Ghost in the Shell, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Full Metal Alchemist, Your Name. For a guy who's so crazy, this actually seems like a pretty normal list.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised about Evangelion or Ghost in the Shell though. Those seem pretty those seem like ones that he would enjoy given his general like attitude towards like given his general interest in and fascination with technology.
To be honest, I don't think he would I wouldn't expect him to like Evangelion because Evangelion goes into the deep end of religion.
Oh.
I watched the whole thing. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on.
I still need to watch it. It's been recommended to me multiple times, but I still need to watch it.
It's a great watch, but the thing is, it's one of those shows that actually gave me existential dread. And that's pretty tough to do.
I am, I'll be honest, I live with a certain amount of existential dread every day, so it may or may not, like, give me more.
And my first take was existential dread. My second thing is, what's happening? This doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense, but doesn't make sense at the same time. Like, well, you know what? Maybe I should tweet at Musk and get him on one of my streams. We can talk about that. Like, what's the ending? What's the actual ending?
That would actually be really interesting to see if you could get him talking on one of your streams.
No, that would be tough. But I actually want to see his take on Evangelion, because it's like, given his, like, despite everything, he has a unique way of looking at things, and his perspective might actually shed some light into what's really going on in that show.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And I just hope that he doesn't make his kids watch it. Because that's one of the things that I don't want kids watching. Like, come on, X-812, let's watch Evangelion. And if he does that, his kids gonna be like, there is no God. There's no God, there's only suffering.
Oh.
And that could...
He homeschools his kids, and that's the education.
Well, Evangelion, where was the list again? I think I closed that tab. Evangelion, Death Note. Let's take a look. There's Death Note, which personally I don't think little kids should watch. Evangelion, which little kids definitely should not watch. Ghost in the Shell, which kids should not watch. Spirited Away, yeah, Spirited Away is fine. Princess Mononoke, I haven't seen it, but this does not look like something a kid should watch. Full Metal Alchemist. And not for young kids to watch. Your Name is fine. The kids gonna be cynical when they grow up. All these kids are gonna be cynics when they grow up.
Thank you for the posture check and to hydrate, Mama Iowa.
It's... but in a way I actually want to stay. You know what? I'll just... I'm just gonna tweet right now. Can you explain the ending of... And of... what's the fourth one called? Evangelion 3.1 plus 1.0. 3.0 plus 1.0. Thrice upon a time. That's the last one. A pretty good watch, but you'll be confused by then. I'm gonna tweet at him right now. There we go. I really... can you... at Elon Musk, what are your takes on the... Your take on the... I see, if he answers, good for me. If he doesn't, whatever. What is your take on the ending of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0? Try... See, if he insults me, whatever. I want to see what he says. Because he might actually shed some light on this.
Yeah, I mean, it would... Yeah.
It could, it could lead to a really cordial conversation with the man-child. And... did I tweet it or did I cancel it? Oh, never mind. Even if I didn't tweet it. Yeah, I sent it. Let's take a look. If he answers, if he answers, it'll be a good take. Because either he might give me a good answer or might just come up with the dumb excuse. Just saying. It's what no way, him watching anime might is a like my take on people who watch anime. At least this is me. Okay, I'm talking about myself. It's a way of maintaining my sanity. So the only way to keep Elon Musk from taking over the world is just pump out great anime. Keep him in check.
Yeah. Thank you for the hydrate, Tef. I think the Vintage Computer Festival, one of the Vintage Computer Festivals is currently going on. VCF East, I think it is.
VCF East, let me check it out. A Vintage Computer Festival East. Things for
Yeah,
this. Okay, COVID-19 protocols. Is there an online version of this? Okay, classes. Let me see what they teach us. Yeah, this looks good, but I don't know if there's an online version of it.
Yeah,
East University.
they have a whole class on the Commodore VIC and VIC-2 chips.
I'm looking at that right now.
Which would be really cool to attend, especially because I have my VIC-20 and I love it, and like
I'd say no, go for it. It looks great.
Yeah, hopefully they'll they'll post these talks and stuff afterwards. But I've always
yeah, go ahead.
I've always wanted to go to a VCF. The closest one to me would be VCF Midwest in Chicago, Illinois, but sadly it's just never been in the cards for me to go. But that's one thing I really want to go to because I feel like it'd be super cool and I could meet I could meet a lot of people who I've actually talked with online, like because I've talked with quite a few vintage tech YouTubers and vintage tech people online, and it'd just be really cool to meet them in person. Yeah, Tef, that would be a really fun trip to go on.
The thing is, like how I put, I'm not the outdoorsy person, but if you want to do it, do it. Like me personally, I don't like to step out at all.
It is generally done in a convention center, I think. So the thing itself is indoors.
I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, I don't like stepping out.
I
have my four walls, and I like my four walls.
That's understandable.
And despite all that, I've traveled a lot. Maybe that's why I like my four walls.
I have not traveled as much as I would really like to. One thing that I find myself really passionate about is the history of highways. And like transportation history in general. And I love just like studying old road maps and stuff. And so it's and I'd really like to go around to more like historical routes, but I don't really have any way to.
No, what I'd say is, do it in the future. Once you have the opportunity to do it.
That's definitely my plan. I'd really like to eventually actually like do a whole like history project where I like go around to various like highways and like study how they've been like rerouted and stuff over time. I think that'd be really cool.
When you say old, how old are you talking about?
Let's see. Well, I know of honestly, like any age, like, basically as old as I can get. Like there's I know of some stretches of road that have existed since before the that have been recognized highways since before the that were recognized highways before the US highway system was uh developed in 1926. And so like they're no longer considered highways, but they're still like, stretches of road and they still exist and you can still drive on them. So it's just really interesting.
And because I've heard that there pretty ancient roads somewhere in Europe. Somewhere around Central Western Europe.
Oh, I could definitely believe that.
Like, but those ancient Rome. And the interesting thing is, they're still good. The roads are still good. You can still drive on top of them.
Yeah, the King's Highway was an approximately 1,300-mile road constructed between 1650 and 1735. That's really cool. Also, traveling along Route 66 would be really cool.
Route 66. I've heard of it, but I've never. Okay, from Las Vegas to Missouri. That one, right? No, okay, it's from California to. Where is this again? What state is that? Okay. Where does it stop? Oh, it stops at Illinois, starts in California. Okay. And how many hours would it take for you to drive this far?
I honestly don't know. But it would be really cool to try. I'd also like to go all along like the California to Illinois. I also think it'd be cool to like go to like travel the entirety of the Missouri River.
Okay, via boat or
Let's see. Actually, there is a trail. There's a walking and biking trail that used to be a railroad that runs at least some of the length of the Missouri.
and that sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah, there are some old railroads that have been turned into trails that and that's really cool, especially when you can still see like the rail bed underneath the gravel that they've laid down for the trail.
God.
36 plus hours for California to Illinois.
No, that's actually pretty fast. Enough. Like, maybe, for us, 36 hours is like from one state to the other, and we're not this big. I'd say due to lack of traffic.
Yeah. I also think it'd be cool to recreate the first cross country trip in an automobile done by Horatio Nelson Jackson. And it says that he used, let's see. I forget exactly what it said he used, but he was able to like basically travel the entire length of he was able to travel across the country, using like I think farm roads, rail beds, and something else. I forget, but yeah. So that it would be really cool to go along his original like route.
Oh, nice. And yeah, since you mentioned the King's Highway, I found out the King's Highway. It's okay. It's from where is it? It's from Egypt across the Sinai Peninsula to Aqaba in Jordan, and moves on to Damascus. And I think where does it stop? It stops in Rafah, Syria. Or was that Iraq? It's not a road. It's an ancient trade route. So Highway 35 of Jordan, Highway 15 of Jordan follow that route. Now I'd say that's something that might interest you.
Definitely. There's also the King's Highway in the U.S. that they that was used in the colonies.
Which one? The one from Charleston to Boston?
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Hey,
that's
Sparkles.
late 1600 to 1800s. Charleston, South Carolina to Boston in Massachusetts. Now this is ancient. Were highways even a thing back then?
I don't think they were a thing, at least not in the like modern term.
Good.
But let's see, mud apparently was so much of the post road is now US Route 1 and US Route 20.
Boston Road. So in 1761 was extended to Maine. Okay. Okay, so it cuts through New York as well.
Nice.
It's okay, so it's a post road. Okay, for transportation of mail. There's an Albany post road, and where is this? No, New York City to Albany. Wait. So Albany is the capital of the state of New York. Wait, what? I thought New York City was the capital of New York State. Well, we learned something. I learned something new every day.
Oh yeah, the capital is Albany, but the largest city is New York.
Like, I thought the entire population of New York was like New York City, and everything else was just woodlands and a handful of people.
You know the
I was
what were you saying?
I was under the impression that upstate New York was just a bunch of woodland and a handful of human beings.
The state capital of Missouri was actually St. Charles until it got moved to Jefferson City.
Okay. Now I'm just reading from the realization that New York City is the capital of New York. .
Apparently, New York City was the capital of the U.S. from 1785 until 1790.
Yeah, wasn't that before they built Washington D.C.?
I think so.
Like when was D.C. built? Yeah, it was. Okay, the Residence Act established D.C. in 1719. Like, till DC was established, I think New York, as you said, New York was the capital. Wait a minute, why does DC have a beverage as insignia? So the state symbols are, they have a bird, a fish, a flower, a mammal, a tree, a beverage, a dinosaur, food, a rock, and a slogan. What? See, okay, I understand the bird, the fish, the flower, and the mammal tree and all that. But why a dinosaur?
That's a good question.
Why do you need a dinosaur for your state?
The Missouri state instrument is the fiddle.
Yeah. That. I'd say that's a pretty popular fact these days. Like, that's surprisingly I knew. Like, I'm actually surprised that DC has a dinosaur called the Capitalosaurus. It's an informal name of a dinosaur. Okay, it's a subspecies of the T-Rex. Okay, then what else do they have? And apparently the food is a cherry. Mammal is a little brown bat. Tree is a scarlet oak. Flower is an American beauty rose. Fish is an American shad. Bird is a thrush. It's. I'm sorry. I'm just surprised that you guys have a dinosaur for a state capital. Meanwhile, we don't even get proper roads in our state capital.
I wish I could remember all the state capitals better. I know some of them, but not many. And it's just sort of yeah, the ones that I know are just the ones that I've either needed to use a lot or the ones that just randomly stick in my brain. Like somewhere I picked up that the capital of Nevada was Carson, Nevada, and I haven't forgotten that. I don't even know where I picked that up.
So the thing about that is, like, at least the stereotype about Nevada is, at least around these parts, is there's Las Vegas and then there's nothing else.
I've actually never been to Nevada, so I can't speak as to whether that is accurate or not. But I do believe there's a lot of desert.
See, there is a lot of desert, but there might be other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like the infamous, what's that thing? Nellis Air Force testing range, or Area 51 as the common people call it. Surprisingly, there are no aliens over there. it's just some shit. It's just how I put, something they came up with to confuse the Soviets. And people these days are like, no, you guys have aliens over there. Where are the aliens at? That's where the US keeps all their experimental stuff. The US Air Force keeps their experimental stuff over there. Along with any aircraft they're acquired from other countries.
Interesting.
So surprisingly, there's this. Not surprisingly, not so surprisingly, back in the day and even now, countries steal each other's stuff to study them. So the Americans stole Soviet stuff, the Soviets stole American stuff, and so on. Once the Americans captured, anything from an unfriendly country, they take it to the Nellis Air Force testing base range to check out its complete capabilities. And that is
so they essentially sort of reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The best way to learn
is to steal it.
The best way to learn is to steal it and then reverse engineer it. I actually remember that there were Apple II clone manufacturers sometimes would buy an Apple II from the store and then reverse engineer the ROM in a complete clean room environment. So or reverse engineer the entire computer in a clean room environment. So no actual so they couldn't be actually infringing copyright, but they get irritatingly close to infringing copyright and create a compatible machine.
The thing is, they still do that these days. It's just gotten a bit more sophisticated. Most of Apple's products are made in China. So there's this weird thing called what is it called? I actually attended a lecture on that back in the day. But what's it called? So what happens is the chips are manufactured in China. Thereby the Chinese manufacturer has set blueprints. Due to that, they developed something called microchip camouflaging or something like that. I'm not. Let me just. Back at my university days, I had a guy fly down from NYU to teach us this, and I forgot. What was it called? Circuit camouflaging. So
microchip camouflaging sounds about right. It's where they
okay, the sad thing is called integrated circuit camouflaging. Doesn't sound as cool as it's supposed to be. So the thing is, there are two ways of doing. One is you just had a shit ton of fake transistors to confuse in the schematic to confuse the person trying to reverse engineer it. Second thing is you add a few transistors with specific keys, and those keys are kept by, let's say, the Apple team in California, and they add those keys in once it's manufactured. Third one is they just cover it up, they literally just cover it up with an additional layer. And the thing is, they have to do this I'd say about every 5 years or so. They have to update the camouflage circuit.
Cool. So it's a bit like a security envelope.
Yeah.
Nice.
It just created an industry, which pays a lot.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Soviets, have you ever seen the movie War Games?
Yeah, I think so. Let me take. Is there a movie or film of War Games? No, not exactly. Well, what's it about?
Okay, so it stars Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy, and essentially, Matthew Broderick is like a computer tinker, and one day he's trying to dial into so where the name comes from is first war games, like a simulated war. but then also this practice known as war dialing, where you dial like all the numbers in a given exchange. Um, so the so Matthew Broderick plays this computer tinkerer person who he he's a high schooler and he loves to like just war dial, mess around with stuff.
Okay.
So one day he's trying to dial into his into a games company's computer system so he can download beta versions of like unreleased games.
Does he accidentally dial into the Soviet nuclear launch codes or something like that?
Better. He dials into a U.S. military supercomputer, which has just recently been hooked into a it's just recently been hooked into a the NORAD system, the NORAD
Okay.
system,
Yeah. Okay.
and he thinks that he's dialed into the the game systems computers. So he so they're and it I don't want to give any spoilers, but essentially there are a few different options for games. There's like chess, tic-tac-toe, like one or two other options, and then global thermonuclear war. And being a high schooler, he immediately goes for global thermonuclear war.
I've seen a parody of this. I've seen a Robot Chicken parody of this.
So then you may be able to guess what happens next, where like, he starts a simulation and then like, all that.
Yeah, I can figure it out.
But it's a really good movie. I would highly recommend it, and it's actually sort of what like made things click for me, because just like a few months before I saw the movie, I was like 11 or 12 when I saw the movie. A few months before that, I had been given my Commodore VIC-20, and then I saw this movie and I was like, hey,
I can do that.
like, yeah, I can do that with my system, or like, I can do similar stuff with my system. And that's really sort of what inspired my like love of vintage computing, was like seeing that movie and then realizing I had a system from a similar time, actually probably about the same time. My VIC-20 was released in 81, and I want to say the movie's from like 83 or so. So
Okay.
so yeah, it was just like, it was just an interesting thing, and it was really the first time I saw like technology like that in use, like technology of that age in use, and it actually, from what I understand, does a pretty good job of like representing like the technology that would have been available at the time, because he was a high schooler. He was using a computer that was from the 70s, and it was like 83 or so, which really sort of makes sense that he might have like a bit of an older machine, because he's a high schooler, he can't necessarily afford like the
Latest
newest
ones, yeah.
machines available. But so yeah, it's just an interesting thing that I learned, like sort of yeah, like that was sort of what inspired me to become really passionate about vintage computing.
God. I'm quite sure the ending is different from what I saw, but the version I saw involves him being kidnapped by the CIA and being tortured. Being waterboarded to confess that Pakistan did it.
Yeah, that's very different from although he is detained by the military, but he's not tortured. He's detained by the military though, because they think he's a Soviet spy, and like because he was like sort of flirting with Ali Sheedy's character and stuff. He was when he was showing her his computer stuff, he was like, hey, I can dial into American Airlines and book us plane tickets. And so like they were like, you booked plane tickets. What are these for?
Okay. Okay, it's more wholesome than what I saw. Where is it? I think. Nah, I think I have it right here. I'll send it to you. Yeah, yeah, I found it. Oh, but... Alright, here you go. Nice.
Thank you. I look forward to watching it.
Off stream, you don't want them copyright striking you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's he thinks he's playing what called the Shadows of Mordor. I'd say it's a mixture of the board games and the post the War on Terror era of getting stuff done.
You know, they actually did release a war game sequel at the height of the War on Terror.
And how did it play out?
I will admit it was bad enough that I stopped watching halfway through the movie, but
Yeah, at least
it
he
was
had the
weird.
yeah, at least had the ability to stop. I just fall asleep. I just doze off. If it's bad, I just doze off.
It was weird. It was a weird movie from what I saw. It wasn't. It was by no means as good as the original.
I'm just going through the Wikipedia page. I see that they hijack a Predator drone. And wait, what? The Predator drone's carrying a nuclear warhead. How? How? Okay, why would they keep a nuclear warhead on a Predator drone? The Predator drone has like a 1.5 to 2 second delay on any operation that the pilot does. Okay, yeah, now I understand how bad this is. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a direct to DVD sequel, so in a way, I'd say that itself was a step down.
Definitely.
Yeah, apparently there's an artificial AI system called Ripley designed to find the T-word. Yeah, I think they're trying to comment on Project Prism. I think it's social commentary on Project Prism, which is a NSA program designed to identify certain events and based on data collected from past events.
Interesting.
It's like how I put it. It seems complicated, but once you go into the nitty-gritty details, it ain't that complicated. It's just the amount of data that they have and the predictors that they have used to come up with the algorithm. That's important. Like the most important thing is the quality of the data. Like if your data is biased, then your results are going to be biased. And that's it.
What if you just flooded like something like that with memes?
Yeah, funny thing, there's something called Inspiro bot that does that. It's a random what called the quote unquote inspirational meme generator.
Oh, I remember messing around with that.
Okay, I just did one. I just did one right now. If you be evil, you can die.
I got never turn your back on an analyst.
Okay, Glorious is a pupil who fears for his knowledge.
Depression is a punishment in reality.
Do not eat squids. Squids spread virus. What?
They can't force you to invade a country.
All of the bedrooms shouldn't be pleasant. Wait, what?
If you can't waste her, you can't treat her.
Okay, plan for the story. Okay, this one isn't that bad.
Inform people that you're filled with self-hatred.
There is no I in leaf. What?
This one has to be seen to really get the full effect, but it's the I'm gonna send it to you, but it is the text is society happy, and it's a picture of the Illuminati eye.
Okay, so
It's so threatening.
they're on to us.
They are.
Okay, there's another one. Don't eat flies. Flies are our gods. And the background image is. It doesn't make sense, but here you go. You gotta see it to believe it. What's a man with abs got to do with flies?
I don't know. An hour of meditation keeps the embarrassments away.
Okay, some useful advice. In the next life, all the things that you have been will seem unbeen.
Honesty, a
Yes.
substitute for prejudice.
Hate is the persistence of dancing. An extremely suggestive image in the background. I said this to you. This is too.
What?
What's the banana gonna do with this?
Absurdity without indoctrination is endorsements.
Social hierarchies will someday remove old ideas. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, I have one that's just interesting. I it is respect the Hollywood elite.
Okay, why? Is there any reason behind that?
I don't. These messages seem to be getting more and more direct.
Yeah, the AI seems to be threatening you. For me, it's rule for if you need enlightenment, be weak.
Acceptable today, wise tomorrow, and then the picture is weird.
There's one which I just started. You gotta see it to believe it. Okay, now it's
Don't-
threatening. Now it's actually threatening me. Clap your hands, have confidence, and shut your mouth.
Don't share your credit card information with kids while they're rioting.
Okay, then there's another. Working in an office is deadly. It's actually threatening me now. You're as interesting as street magic. What? And another suggestive image. Feeling stupid. Okay. This is actually a threat. This is the latest one that they sent.
I feel like that could either be a great pickup line or an awesome put down.
It could be one of the two. For example, cuteness is a sickness of society. Now it's preaching Heath Ledger's Joker. White streets musicians. Oh no. Failing at procreating is likely to be a result of bad morals. What do you mean?
Why do a lot of these sound like they're directly out of some like Orwellian novel? Or
Maybe
like a
they are.
Philip K. Dick novel or something.
Okay, so right before it sent this message, it gave a pop-up. It said your aunt will love this, and it says casual sex is a disease. What's this got to do with my aunt? Now, this was preceded by a message which says share the wisdom of Inspirabot, and the message is popular music rad? Question mark.
I just got arrange it so that fellow countrymen obey.
Okay. Okay, then there's one. Dress yourself dreadfully obese. Act creative. And now it's calling me its favorite user. You are being calm. Stop being for sale.
I just got never trust a stable marriage with a picture of the Titanic.
Rule 10. Keep being good. Okay, this is fine. Government employees join hands. Don't feel like an asshole. If we want beer, we have to learn to accept you. It's actually hitting more closer to home.
I just got what's so tough about forcing a cyborg to be your Satan?
After the free lunch comes your cost. Comes your heart. And then there's something right out of out of a documentary about global warming. Yeah, it is.
I feel like these are both warning and threatening at the same time.
Okay, this one has a double meaning. If you're in a relationship, be an art head. And then there's I don't know, is there a tundra or desert in the background? And apparently we can turn this into merch. Oh yeah, you can. Let me see if they can make a t-shirt. English, okay. Okay, can I like get a custom one on myself? No. Apparently not. Like, business begins with therapy sessions. True, that is true. And what else is there? Oh yeah, I even got the Illuminati eye. And here it is.
Interesting. You don't have to find all the Pokemon in order to create art. With a picture of a cat hiding its eyes.
And there's one there is a font in the background seemed to suggest an inspirational quote, but I'd say it's far from inspirational. Yeah, it is. People who create dragons create secret agendas.
I just got collaborate with murderers.
And that means one of the two of us might be a murderer. It's threatening us. Then there's this. Bullies are usually assholes. What's with the background?
Interesting.
This one seems quite threatening and disturbing. Yeah, it is. Schools are not just schools. Why does it?
Very...
Yeah, it's quite disturbing.
Yeah. There are mediocre startup companies and there are regular startup companies.
Okay, then there's another one. Consuming edibles is just as bad as consuming flesh. I have to send that to my vegan cousin. There's one. Look through girls and there's McDonald's behind it. Yeah, cool. Well, I'm confused. What's it trying to tell me?
Oh no.
Okay, and this one basically promotes the NTR tag and hentai. I'll send it to you. It says someone has to. Okay, someone has to make love to a neighbor, yourself included. And then since we keep caressing and behave psychic. What?
I swear, these are getting more and more threatening. Tell the world that a new dark age starts with you and me.
What? Okay, before the children comes the ridicule. You cannot have the vacation without the separation. That's a threat. Thou shalt not bury modern civilization with shovels of dreams. Sometimes the most humane thing to do is to give the silent treatment. It's sad but true, but the background is. I know the background's weird.
Interesting.
Okay, it's glitching out from my end. I think we've reached a point where it's running out of ideas. Okay, oh, it changed the background. I think after a certain point, the background changes. Bitcoin demonstrates how certain people operate. True. It's getting smarter. I want this printed on a mug. At $16, and I'm quite sure delivery cost will be the same.
I sort of want to get all the Orwellian ones printed on stickers so I can put them on my laptops.
There's another one. Sins
Like,
are just
arrange
curses.
it.
Sins are just curses without a home. It's gone smarter. After the background change, it's gone smarter. Okay, what's this got to do with LGBTQ flag? Public life is often like a burnt house. It sounds kinda cool till you realize the joke is on you.
Oh no.
I seriously don't know like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this like the bottom part of the LGBTQ flag?
Yeah, that is.
I'm like, what? Okay, so it's returned back to another mode.
Developers become developers because they get free stuff.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
It is true. If you become a developer, you get so much swag.
No, you get depression and lack of sleep, but you get free stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay, proctology does not impact the military-industrial complex. Isn't proctology the medicine, the study of the rectum? What's that go like? And the background. I just have to send this to you for you to to experience it completely.
Oh, that's good. And yeah, proctology is that.
People can never be asleep with a creepy angel statue. Okay. Verify queens. I don't even know what they're trying to imply there. Those who can't listen believe, and the background is something straight out of a horror movie.
Oh wow.
Mars should be for everybody. You know what? Someone should send this to our good friend Elon Musk. Mars should be for everybody.
Yes.
Rule 3, being inquisitive. Okay. If someone can infantilize bodies, they can also celebrate the military-industrial form.
Yell if it makes your family ashamed.
This one, like, why is it pushing the military-industrial complex on me?
I think it's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, it is trying to tell us something. Never say I believe you, say save me from myself. Yeah, that's not the best way to find a significant other. So, you gotta see this to believe in this.
How about this one?
Can you imagine what would happen if millionaires acted less like... You are polite. Well, thank you. The two things you need in order to hypnotize someone is gasoline and the vision. Never ever let anyone tell you that you're not in a foreign country. When psychopaths question, bank robbers explain. Well, they ain't wrong. Weakness can lure you into responsibility. What? Is it trying to say that don't stick it in unless... It's... There's a fine line between playfulness and low impulse control. Dare to expect what others consider unexpected. Okay. Work aggressively, and then there's a ginger cat in the background. Stand up, go to work, and then they oh no, what is this? Are those flares or tiki torches? I'm just saying, are those flares or tiki torches? Just
They look like flares.
okay, so it's not what I think it is. Remain okay, behave stoned. Is this just the updated Art of War? When weak appears strong, when strong appear weak, and the background is suggestive for some reason.
Interesting.
If you're against publicly mandated gender fluidity, please share this all with your friends. And then there's a picture of a star cluster for some reason. Always examine your brain, okay? Human skins are figments of your imagination. You don't need sunshine to create art, okay? Life is short, start your own cult. You know what, I might actually take this advice. Life is short. Maybe I should start a cult.
How can you ensure yourself that a celebrity isn't a proctologist? A proctologist always puts on a shirt and a tie.
They ain't wrong. If you can't date... Oh no, if you can't date him, you can't burn him. And then there's a picture of a goldfish. If we cooperate, we can make pseudoscience trend on Twitter. Yeah, it actually makes sense. If enough people believe in it, it becomes real. Try to question things nobody else can question. get indebted, be yourself, stay all day, get popular. I don't think it works that way. Once a comedian, always a comedian. The background is something straight out of a slasher horror movie. No, I think I should do this on stream. That keep this as a backdrop and react to each one of them.
That's a cool idea.
Living a normal life is one hell of a. Okay, it's got the grammar's killing me. One hell of a indulgence, not indulgence. Indulgence. Every time you look into the work environment, the work environment also looks into you. That's true. I can tell you. I can guarantee that's true. You are attractive. Okay, thank you. Philosophers define self-control as breaking one's own principles and expecting nobody to notice. Yeah, I don't think it works that way. Feel self-obsessed with Oscar Wilde in the background. Wait, stay thoughtful, okay. I think it's trying to tell us something because every now and then I get a message which says Earth is not an alien battlefield. Insectoids can run tech companies. Inspira Corp are human. Try to look like you. Okay.
Progress.
No, there's not one. Try to look like you are your best friend's wife. Why? The scandal is jack shit without the movie. This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
And the background is pretty accurate. Oh, okay. Hi, Fuji. Fuji's in my chat. Hi, Fuji. Fuji,
hey, Fuji.
Fuji, go to Inspirabot right now and just play around with that. I'll DM it to you now. You know what? I think I'll just keep mine in the background of my stream. Where is... I'll do it on a different stream. Regret being born. Yeah, I do that most of the time, so... That's nothing new. Now, it's kind of getting a bit more dark as we go on. An insect has a mind of its own with a Big Ben on the background. When you take advantage of a screen, the screen also takes advantage of you.
Government officials team up for your common goal, making the crypto economy history.
Oh yeah, so talking about crypto, I know I'm jumping back to this. Talking about crypto, there's a pretty interesting theory that Bitcoin was created by the US government. Think about it. So the Tor protocol was created by the US Navy. So what if these guys created crypto to keep track of illegal transactions? That's assuming they're playing the long game.
That's a very good point.
What if Satoshi Nakamoto is basically the FBI? Could be. So what you do is you create the illusion of there being an alternative to fiat currency. You use that to keep track of illegal transactions. And you let some go because you don't want to ruin your cover. That's what they did with the Tor protocol. And once it's served its purpose, and basically arrest everyone who are involved. I mean, anyone involved with illegal stuff. And additionally, I think Satoshi Nakamoto maintains about maintains a huge chunk of the Bitcoin ledger. So if they want to bring it down, they can bring it down.
Interesting. Welcome back. Very cool moment.
So yeah, like I won't be surprised if the big twist is this entire anti-government, finance movement was controlled by the government.
Yeah, that seems possible for sure.
Like the only only hole in this theory is that if it happened, someone would have leaked it, but I don't think that's actually quite an accurate statement. When you think of all the stuff the U.S. government's been involved in that no one's leaked, or any government, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, and even however, even the crypto bros would not be willing to accept that they got finished by the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So yeah, the perfect cover-up. Okay, so Fuji is not bad, but the green eye reminds me of the main villain from Power Rangers RPM. The red eye is like that in a cylinder. Why, the red eye reminds me of Al. It's called Al, right? The AI.
HAL 9000?
Yeah, HAL 9000, yeah. Just replace the Inspector bot. No, just replace green with red, you have HAL 9000.
Do you remember when Windows 7 gadgets were a thing on the desktop?
Yeah.
I had a HAL 9000 desktop gadget that would
nice.
actually quote HAL 9000.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, the Inspector bot has come up with something even interesting. If you're in an office, be an internet grabber. Yeah, funny thing, everyone at work does that, so not really useful advice.
Toxoplasmosis history.
It's a farmer never cares, apparently. Oh god, yeah, this is I don't know what to say about this.
Let us make life on Earth collapse under its own weight.
Oh, we don't have to do that. It's already happening.
Yeah.
Do you think things would be different if yoga instructors found a way to help whales? Okay, this is true, but no one would accept it. There are beautiful family members, and there are other family members. Just because you're fun doesn't mean you're proud. Okay. Like, I don't get the LGBTQ flag though, once. It says don't get upset about your shrinking afterlife, just invite the neighbors over.
What?
You know, this quote can actually solve COVID. Right now, I found it, the perfect one. It's gonna be like, guys, we solved COVID. Quarantining is by some cultures seen as a form of mating ritual. Like I'm telling you, we can solve COVID with just that.
Yeah.
Guys, we solved COVID. COVID is no more. Everyone's Now, what's with all the foreign talk? It's It's either the Inspira bot is is horny for foreigners. Dare to say no to madness. Okay. Most people are not aware that the end of the world as we know it is big business. Okay, finally, just finally, there's something that actually makes sense. You know, they say a broken clock is right twice a day. I think we reached that point. It says we can't save the human race by terrifying ourselves. We can only save the human race by taking better care of our surroundings. I think we finally found. I finally found the golden quote, and the background even makes sense. So.
Yeah. It's coherent. The picture makes sense. I guess it's like sort of the idea of like like what, like put 1,000 monkeys in a room with typewriters and one will eventually turn out the words of Shakespeare.
Okay, it's not 1,000 monkeys, it's infinite monkeys. Infinite monkeys with infinite typewriters. And I found the creepiest one. This is the creepiest one I've seen.
Speaking of Orwellian.
Do son.
The solution to the stock market is humanism.
What?
That's one that I just got is the solution to the stock market is humanism.
And why is that showing me a lot of my version wants to get stoned, wants to get laid, and is posting a lot of creepy stuff. Okay, it has the marijuana leaf, and it says you can reason with something that nobody else can reason with. Losers can inspire us to replace what an average individual would deem unreplaceable. It basically tells us to kill losers. Wow. Wow, Inspira bot. Okay, another horny quote now. Walk around and hold in your stomach. Okay. Imagination is a whole of the senses. Okay.
Do not change your beliefs just because of intestines.
What? Yeah, actually it does make sense. You know, back in the day, used to cut up animals and read the intestines. What is Jason Voorhees doing here? When hearts die, stupidity arises. Somebody should do their fucking job. You can be that someone. Okay, this actually makes sense. It's basically Gandhi's you be the change you want to be, but more to the point.
Yeah.
Keep calm and be glamorous with someone's feet chained. What?
Wind is life's way of saying, I want to be your dog.
Well, here's what I found.
I found this one.
Mindfulness can be like metaphorically speaking a riverboat ride towards death. Okay. The illusion of free will makes people eat what same people consider uneatable. Actually true. But the background doesn't make sense. Or is this a jab on American consumerism? Like I'm confused. What's the Statue of Liberty got to do with this? Is this them trying to insult McDonald's?
I think so.
Tobacconist is just another word for when lovers go to die. Stay young and create drugs. It's loneliness is in decline. No, that is not true. If one expects a sister, one has to prepare for. Yeah, what? What? Nothing is free.
Interesting.
Okay. Simply say no to governmentally regulated coronary heart disease, and then the background is a nuclear explosion. Your music, another woman's brainwashing. Okay. If you're on stage, be a crime crusher. Are you frustrated? Stop it.
Are you frustrated? Well, stop it.
Okay, now it's insulting me. You really are the filthiest abomination. Express your perspective. The food chain is an illusion. Technology is the new danger. You are funky. What? You are so you're an attractive sissy. Now that's just interesting. Create random dating. What? You don't have to. There's one. You don't have to create a movement in order to invade a country.
I do think it is time for it will be time for me to
yeah,
end my stream pretty soon because
I was gonna say that.
Lunchtime.
No, I was gonna say I have to be heading off to bed as well. Thing is, getting up these days is a pain.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway, in that case, I really enjoyed my time with you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed my time with you as well.
And I guess I should be dropping off. And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you for joining, and thanks for having me as well.
And I think, and thanks to our chat from, I'd say from both our chats. And yeah, I'll be dropping off now. But thanks again for having me. And I know I randomly jumped from topic to topic, but I'm still trying to work on that.
Honestly, I had a lot of fun.
Okay, anyway, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later. Bye.